Okay, we are now broadcasting live. So welcome everyone to this week's IELTS webinar. This week we're covering IELTS reading. It's our first IELTS webinar on reading. So we'll just give people a few moments to join us. In the meantime, I'll introduce myself. Hello, I'm Jamie. I'm an IELTS teacher and trainer, and I'm here on behalf of IELTSonlinetest.com. And I'm joined today by our presenter, Annalie, a very experienced and knowledgeable IELTS trainer. So hello, Annalie, and thank you for joining us.
Hey, Jamie.
There. So if you have just joined us in the chat, please feel free to say hello. Let us know where you are in the world. And since it's our first IELTS reading webinar, if there's anything you would like us to focus on, anything you find difficult in the IELTS reading test, please feel free to suggest that. You'll have a chance to ask questions in the Q&A box, which is at the bottom of your screen. And you can chat to us and ask questions throughout the presentation in using the chat. So how's the chat looking, Annalie? I'm just, oh, hello everyone.
Amazing range. Canella's here again and Temi Toppy. So hi guys. I'm just getting to know some of these people, regular
Excellent.
attendees. So, but hi everybody.
Great. Yeah, welcome in everyone. Hello. Yep, I can see from Kazakhstan. Hey there, Sarah from the Philippines. Welcome back. It's nice to see you guys. So just to let you know before we start, the slides for this presentation will be available on our Facebook page as usual. So I'll post a link to that in the chat. You feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A. You can vote for the questions you'd like us to answer, to discuss the most after the presentation. And yeah, feel free to give your answers throughout the presentation in the chat. So Annalie, if you're ready to begin, I'll hand over to you.
Okay, so thanks, Jamie. Hi, everybody, and welcome and best of luck if you've got your exam coming up soon. Somebody had their exam on the 4th, so really very good luck to everyone. So what we're looking at today is the reading. As Jamie said, it's the first time that we've looked at the reading. So we're going to look at a few different things. One is going to be the different kinds of questions that you get. Then we're going to look at some general strategies that you can use for all types of questions. And then we're going to focus down on those true, false, not given questions that can cause quite a lot of difficulty there, okay? And try and avoid some of those mistakes that people sometimes make, okay? So that's generally what we're going to be looking at today. So first of all, we're going to look generally at the IELTS reading test, and we're going to do some true false questions, okay? So just get ready to answer in the chat and tell me if these statements are true or false, okay? So are there 3 passages in the reading test? Okay, Canella's up there already. Yeah, she's very, very good. Yeah, okay. This is absolutely true. 3 passages that you have to read. Okay. Oh, hi, Mary. I remember you from before. Okay. 1 hour. 1 hour to do the reading test. Okay, good. Yeah, that's again absolutely 1 hour for the 3 passages. Okay, 50 questions overall. Okay, very good. So how many questions are there? Okay, Olivia's there with the 40. Okay, very good. So overall 40 questions. Fantastic, and some good replies here. All right. You have 10 minutes at the end of the test. where you can transfer your answers. Okay, very good, everybody. Very important to remember that. That's only true, absolutely not, as Nicole said. Yeah, that's only true in the listening. When you do the reading, you must fill in the answer sheet as you are doing it. Okay, there is no transfer time at the end. Okay. Okay, so as you go through the 3 passages, they increase in difficulty. Okay, very good. That's absolutely true. Okay. And following on from that, should you divide it equally? Do you think 20 minutes on each passage? Get a bit of mix of answers there. Generally speaking, the first passage and the first set of questions are easier. So if you can keep passage 1 a little bit under 20 minutes, you do give yourself a bit more time for those second 2, which are more difficult. They're also longer. So just in terms of volume, there's just more to read. Yeah, Ashish, if you can keep it down to 15 minutes, possibly even better. But do, you know, link the time you spend to the difficulty and try and give yourself 25 minutes, 22 minutes for the last passage rather than just 20. Okay. So how about the next one? Very important. Just sit down, read each passage very carefully, spend a lot of time on it. Okay, very good, everybody. You 100% do not have time to read each passage slowly and carefully. Okay, and one of the things we're looking at today is, thank you, Nicole. Yes, my tone did imply false, didn't it? One of the things we're looking today is how you speed up your reading. Okay. So are you should aim to answer roughly 1 question per minute? I don't know, very honest answer from Sana there. It's generally that is about right. If you're spending, you know, 3 to 4 minutes on 1 question, it's very unlikely you're going to get all the way through. Yeah, you can always come back. But, you know, if you're finding 1 question, you're just not getting the answer, just move on to the next one. Yeah. And don't waste time on the difficult one. Okay. Different question types, different types of exercise, more or less around 14. Okay, getting a mix of answers there. There's a few more than 5, Sana. It's, you know, there are different ways of categorizing the exercise types, but there tend to be kind of 10 to 14. There are a lot of different exercise types, and it's really important to have good, good experience. Olivia said, oh my God. Yes, it is quite a lot. And you really do need to have experience in all of those different ones. You need to know which ones you find easier, which ones are trickier for you, so that you know how long you're going to have to spend on each part. Okay. Can anybody name any of those exercise types? We're going to look at this in a bit more detail a bit later, but just to see. Okay, true, false, not given. Matching headings, very good. Yeah, kind of filling in the blanks. Yeah, that's very good. True, false, not given. Okay, that's some of them. I think those are the ones people sort of have most in their mind. Multiple choice, Angel, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so quite a few you've got there, and we'll look at them in more detail in a moment. Okay. So each passage should probably get 3 or 4 different types of questions, different exercises. Is that true or false? Yeah, okay. Oh, hi, Rossell. Yes, again. And Yazimuddin. Yes, absolutely. It's 3 or 4 for each passage. So there's a very good range. You really need to know all of those different ones. Okay. Okay, so the questions, so the information is always in the same order as the questions. Okay, very good. That is false. In some cases, true, false, not given, that is the case. But something like matching headings or categorizing, obviously they're not going to be in the same order. So don't assume that order is going to help you find the answer. Okay. All right. And spelling and capitalization, are they important or not? Okay. Okay, we're getting a mix here. Very important. I like that. Yes, Amiguchi, in capital letters. It is very important to get your spelling right. If the spelling is wrong, you do not get the mark, 100%. Okay. If you don't put a capital on a name, on a country, on a date, super duper important, Nicole, yes, you will lose that mark. Okay, so spelling is so important. Same with the listening. Spelling, punctuation, capitalization must be correct. Okay, and possible little tip there, if you write all of your answers in capitals, then you don't have to worry about the capitalization. Obviously, you still have to worry about the spelling, but that does take, yes, you can write your answers in full capitals, and then, you know, that maybe takes away one concern. Not a problem at all. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at the question types now. So we're going to look at the 10 most common categories that you can get. If you start with a small letter, Maria, and it should be, if it's a proper noun, it's a name, you won't get that marked correctly. Okay, it has to have a capital. All right, so we're going to fill in some missing words here. So what are we looking at in number 1? What's the type of exercise? Okay, very good. Multiple choice. Okay, very good. What about number 2? Okay, very good. So you get the question and you give a short answer. Okay, excellent. And the third one would be sentence. Okay, very good. Sentence completion. Yeah. Okay, slightly different one. Rather than completing a sentence, you are completing. Okay, very good. Yeah, note completion, table completion, that kind of thing. In the case of sentence completion, grammar is very important. The sentence must make sense grammatically for you to get the right mark. Note completion, not necessarily important to use articles or something like that. Okay. Then we have these 2, yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given. Yeah, okay, which is what we're going to focus on today. What about that one? We've just got a C there. Any ideas? Maybe you have 3 scientists and you have to say who said which, or you've got to ascribe to different. No, we're not quite there with that one. This one is categorization, okay, or classification. So you've got to say which statement belongs to which person. Yeah, okay. All right, what about the next one? Sentence endings. Okay, very good. Matching the sentence endings. Well done, Angel. Okay, so first half of the sentence, and then you've got to find the second half from the options. Okay. What about number 8? What other kind of matching can we do? Okay, very good. Matching headings. This is always a tricky one. Yeah, matching headings. And what about the next one? So you're locating, not quite missing. Okay, very good, Shata. Specific information. Okay, so it's all about the paragraphs, but you're not looking at the overall paragraph like you are with matching headings. You are looking for specific, pertinent would be another word, Nikhil, yeah? Information in the paragraph. Okay, it's not an overview of the paragraph. And finally, we put these ones together so you can get a diagram, you can get a table. Okay, very good. Shannon McGriffey. Right, is there flow chart and Nikunj as well. So sometimes you have to fill in flow chart, similar to the notes, you know, you're just putting in a few words in each case. Okay. Yeah, these questions come up in the academic and they also come up in the general training. Okay. So the question types are the same for both modules. There's no difference. There's a slight difference in the form of the passage, which maybe we can look at afterwards, but the actual exercises are the same and the strategies are also exactly the same. Okay. So just get me a few ideas. Do you find any of these particularly difficult? Are there some that you think are trickier than others? And why do you think you find those tricky? Just give me, okay, true, false, not given, matching headings. Those are always the two that create the most issues, yeah. 5 is quite difficult, okay? So we're gonna look at true, false, not given today. Then maybe Jamie later on we can do a matching headings ones because I think that's a bit of a difficult one as well, okay? Yeah, 5 and 8 pretty much across the board is what we're looking at here. Okay, so let's look at some example questions and I want you to tell me which type of exercise we're looking at here, okay? So if we look at that one, which one is that? You can just put the number up. This for speed. Okay, very good. So this is multiple choice. This is your kind of very standard multiple choice A, B, C, D. Okay. How about this one? Moving a bit all over the place there. Okay, very good. And yup. Accuracy. Okay, now we're getting there. This is also multiple choice. Okay, it's not necessarily one question and 4 options. It can be one question, you choose 2 out of 6 or 3 out of 8. So very, very important to read the question carefully. Okay, because if you don't get both examples for this one, for example, you know, you won't get the answer right. You have to have 2 examples of food. So do read those questions very, very carefully. Okay. And what about this one then? Which 3 of these problems? Okay, yes, Oppo F9. Yeah, okay, very good. That is also multiple choice. Okay, they do bold and capitalize the number, so you know, just pay attention to that. Okay. How about this one? Have a look at the question and the example. Okay, very good, Sangeeta. Yeah. We've got the beginning of some sentences and then we've got the endings, yeah. Notice that there are more endings than there are sentences, okay? So you do have more options that you're not going to use. Okay, what about this one? Okay, very good. Yeah, this is 6. This is categorization. Okay, so you have 4 people or 4 countries, and then some statements, and you have to say which category they belong to. Okay. And how about this one? Okay, very good. Short answer. Notice that with these kinds of questions, also sentence completion, note completion, there is always a maximum number of words, okay? For example, here it's no more than 3 words. Sometimes it might say 1 word only. Again, if you put more than 3 words there, even if it was actually the correct answer, it would be marked wrong, okay? So you must follow the instructions in terms of the number of words that you include. Less than 3 will be fine. It's always a maximum, okay? But sometimes it does say 1 word only. So it will be 1, 2, or 3 words in this case. But if you added an extra word, unfortunately, it would be wrong. Yeah, exactly, Nicole. Yeah. Okay, how about this one? Okay. Oh, yeah, Sammy's there. Yeah, we're getting some answers there. I was waiting. So sorry, yeah, that was locating specific information. So they give you some specific information and ask you which paragraph that information can be found in. Okay. And then how about this one? Okay, yeah, very good. That is sentence completion. As I said before, remember, it must make sense grammatically. Always very important with these exercises to read the full sentence when you've completed it to make sure that it makes sense. Okay. All right. And finally, okay, very good. Yeah, this is a kind of flow chart where you have to fill in the missing information. Okay. All right, there's one more. What about this one? Okay. Yeah, okay, so this is note completion. Very good. All right, okay. And what about this one? Okay, yeah, this is number 8, matching headings. So this is the one that we don't like this one very, very much. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, and okay, good. So this is the one that we're going to focus on today. All right. So different strategies that you need depending on the question type, the exercise, but they are a mix of some general reading strategies, which we're going to look at now, which are very, very important in order to speed up your writing. Okay. Any strategies that you're aware of in terms of reading? Okay, very good. So, I mean, we've got skimming, we've got scanning. Okay, keywords, very good. Yeah. All right. So, first one we're going to look at is skimming. So, what is skimming? What kind of reading is skimming? Anyone? Yes, okay, basically, yes. So reading through very, very quickly or just looking at certain parts in order to get the gist, what we call the gist, the general idea of the passage, okay? So how about scanning? What is scanning? Okay, yeah, Sammy's got it. Yeah, so it's very much keywords, key pieces of information that you can find easily in the passage. So keywords from the question, but also things like names, places, dates, numbers are much easier to find than, general words, so that they usually will help you find the right place. Okay. So we get the general idea, then we use through skimming, and then we use scanning to find out exactly where we need to look for our answer. Okay, and then what about reading carefully? You can underline some in, yes. You can write whatever you like. What is reading carefully? Okay, yeah, good. So this is, thorough reading. Very nice, Sarah. So, really understanding what is being said. Okay, yeah, so analyzing, understanding, that's very good. Okay, or as Nicole said, the beautiful balance between skimming and scanning. I like that very much. Okay, and we're going to use all of those in kind of maybe slightly different ways for the question types. Okay. So let's look at our specific example, which is true, false, not given. Okay, so we're going to just a couple of minutes just reading very quickly the skimming at the beginning. That's maximum you want to spend on this. You're just getting a very general overview of what's in kind of different parts of the passage, where things are, how it all works out. Okay, so always really, really key, the very first thing you do, read the title, read any subheadings. If there's a picture or a diagram, have a quick look at that, because that gives you some very instant information as well. Okay, so you'll know what the topic is, you'll get a general idea of what's where. Okay, then someone said already, go to the questions. Okay, very, very important. You need to know what you're looking for. Skim through the questions. Okay, what kind of exercise are we looking at? Okay, looking for the keywords, which we'll focus on in a minute. Very, very important in the reading and in the listening. And as I said, for any kind of, you know, real information like dates and places is going to help you find the information that really, really stands out. Okay. Another good thing to do is we have these topic sentences. What's a topic sentence? Talked about this with the writing, if you were there with the writing. What is a topic sentence? Yeah, okay, very good. So yeah, it's the first sentence of a paragraph and it gives you the topic of that paragraph, okay? So again, that will give you a good idea of, you know, what is going to be in the paragraph. Again, you know, underline a couple of keywords in the first sentence so you can visualize it much more easily, okay? And any keywords like dates or anything that you think will be helpful, you can highlight those words, and then when you're actually doing the exercise, you're going to find everything much, much faster, okay? But this should be no more than, you know, a couple of minutes doing this. It is very, very general, very quick, okay? So this is our example question, okay? So this is always how it looks like, and they give you, you know, some information, true, false, not given, okay? So true means that the same information is in the question and in the passage, okay? False means that you have contradictory information in the question and the passage. So the statement cannot be true. It cannot be true because it says the opposite of what is in the passage, okay? Not given, which is always the tricky one, means that the information is just different, okay? It's not telling you that it's true or it's false. It's talking about something slightly different, okay? So it could be true, but we don't know because the answer's not there. Quite simply, the answer is not there, okay? So that's the difference. Usually people tell me false, not given is where the issue lies. False, it means it cannot be true. Not given means it could be true, but we don't know, okay? Because the information is not there to tell us, all right? So these are the statements that we have, okay? And this is what we're going to work through here, okay? So this one is true, false, not given. In some cases, you're going to get a yes, no, not given. In what ways are they different? In what ways are they the same? Not quite that. How do they differ? It's a different type of passage, just to give you a hint. No, I'm not sure. Okay, so true, false. Okay, very good. Okay, Sean McGrathie has got it. True, false, not given is factual information. Okay, yes, no, not given is the writer's opinion. Okay, so in that type of passage, the writer is actually giving an opinion on a topic, and the sentences agree with the writer's opinion, disagree with the writer's opinion, or again, we don't know because it's different information, okay? So the idea, you know, the way that the passage is written is different, but the strategies are the same, yeah, okay? So we're gonna have a look at the true, false, not given with some of shorter, simpler ideas. So then we can see, you know, how it works, okay? So basically you've got two pieces of information, what you read in the question, what you read in the passage. All right. So if this is what it says in the question, and this is what it says in the passage, is that true, false, or not given? Is it the same or is it not the same? Okay, very good. Yeah, okay. All right, so what is it that's telling us that? What is different? Okay, very good. Yeah, in the first one we've got all, and in the second one we've got most. Okay. Very, very common. There's certain types of words that are used a lot in the true, false, not given that you need to think about. So these modifiers, all, everybody, nobody, some, the majority of, a minority of, percentage. Look at those kind of things very, very carefully. Everywhere, nowhere, those kind of things. They're really going to give you the information, and that's where they're trying to trick you. Okay. All right. How about these? Roberta is British. Roberta comes from London. Okay. Okay, good. It's true. Yeah, both of them are about Roberta. If she's British, she comes from London, she must be British. Okay, so they're the same information. Okay. However, if we do this, okay. Okay, very good. So it's not given. We don't know. Okay. She comes from London, doesn't necessarily mean that she's British, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she's not British either. We don't have enough information to be able to say what her nationality is. Okay, so slight difference there. So could it be true? It could be true, we don't know. That's the question you've got to ask yourself. Okay. All right, have a look at this one. This car is the best. In the passage, it says this car is the most expensive. Okay, good. Well, I'll be getting there. Most people are getting there. Okay, so it's not given. It's not contradictory. The best car can be the most expensive car, but it might not be. Okay, it's different information. Okay, and we don't know. All right, very good. Doing really well. Okay. So usually if you're not sure, it means it's not given. Okay, so ask yourself that question, could it be true? If the answer is no, it can't be true because it says this, it's false. If you don't know, it could be true, it's not given. Okay. So let's have a little look at scanning. Okay, so we've got the first four sentences here. So as everyone's pointed out, keywords, very, very important in the reading and in the listening. So we're going to look at which ones would be the keywords. So have a look at number 1. Which would you say would be the keywords in this case? Okay, very good, Sana. Aries, we've got a name there. That's going to be very easy to find. Okay, Middle Ages as well is also going to be very easy to find. Anything that's capitalized is going to stand out. Okay. Most of the passage is going to be about children and adults and work. So they're not really key words because they're going to be there throughout the passage. Keywords, in some cases, it basically means what makes this sentence different from the other sentences. What's the, the information that's going to help me? So children and work isn't really going to help you because you're going to see that everywhere. Okay. But Aries and Middle Ages is going to be very specific. Okay, what about number 2? What would you pick out as the ones there? Yeah, okay, very good. Unloved is very specific to that question. And what else? And Middle Ages, Emily, yeah, okay. All right, what about number 3? What is specific to that question? Okay, very good. Health, overwork. Okay, and scientists and damage. Okay, yeah, and the last one. Okay, good. Trade unions, very, very specific kind of information, and 19th century. Okay, that's going to be very easy to pick out there. Okay, so there's kind of 2 types of keywords. One is factual information like names and times. That's usually going to be the same. Okay, so you can actually just take that word and find it in the passage. You can't paraphrase somebody's name. Okay. Another type would be, you know, where they're just general words, in which case usually or almost always it's going to be a synonym or a paraphrase that you find in the passage. Okay, so here, Aries, Middle Ages, that's probably just going to be able to find that straight away. We don't need to change everything. Okay, if we have a look at number 3, so we got scientists, overwork, damage, and health. That's a very good point, Nikhil, and we'll come to that in a minute. So these are not names, they're not proper nouns. So we're probably looking for paraphrases here. So what might we say instead of scientists, or what might be a word related to science? It's not necessarily a synonym, remember, it just means related. Okay, yeah, researchers or research or experts, very good. Scholars, very nice word, Islam. What about overwork? What would be another way of saying overwork? Okay, kind of boring, yeah, extra work. Okay, all right, yeah, damage. Okay. Okay, working late hours, that's good. Yeah, ruin, okay, damage, ruin, destroyed. Yeah, okay, very good. And health, what might be a synonym for that? Okay, well-being, very good, or fitness, that works very well. Okay. And then in the last one, we've got trade unions and 19th century. Probably going to be the same, but what could be another way of saying in the 19th century, or what could mean the same as the 19th century? Okay, being kind of, okay, yeah, very good. So we might say, yeah, okay, the 1800s, or it could be a specific date, like, yes, so for example, Shusti's put 1891. So again, that's going to be the same information, isn't it? Yeah, the 1800s or a specific year there. Okay, so keywords might be the same if they're names, but they might also, or more likely to be paraphrasing if it's a general noun. Okay. So same kind of thing we're going to look at here. So if you look at number 5, what do you think are the key words there? What's going to differentiate this information from the rest of it? Okay, half-time schools, yeah, because that's a sort of specific terminology. Mid-19th century, yeah, okay. All right, and what about in the next one? Okay, certainly 20th century, yeah. Okay, and full-time. So we've got half-time and full-time here as kind of terminology related to schools. And what about in the last one? Okay, very good, Ali. Nowadays, change in the time, so that's going to be important. Okay, so yeah, old, talking about how old they are. Categorized, yeah, differentiated and categorized. So what's another way of saying nowadays? Okay, very good. All of those work perfectly. What about needs? Yeah, these days, currently, presently, that's fine. What about needs? Requirements or wants, yeah, is very probably the most common one. Okay, oh, sorry. What about categorized? Okay, could be identified, grouped, very nice, grouped or classed or classified, very nice. And differentiated could be Okay, yeah, something like separate or distinguished, very nice, yeah, or segregated, separated, okay. And rather than saying how old they are, we could say, okay, it's almost certainly going to be age, yeah, okay. So very important to find those keywords and to think about which ones are going to be synonyms, okay. But remember, if it's generally the topic of the passage, it's not that helpful because you're just going to find that all the way through. Okay. So let's have a look now at scanning. So we're looking at the first example. We've decided what our keywords are: Aries and Middle Ages. Okay. Now, as Nikhil pointed out, if this is generally about Aries, maybe he comes up a few times in the passage. So what we need to do is make sure we've got both of those keywords very close together, okay? So one keyword is maybe not going to be enough. You need to have the two so you can find it, okay? So in this case, you can see that we have Philippe Aries in the first paragraph, and we also have him in the second paragraph, okay? But we only have Aries and Middle Ages together in the second paragraph. So that's the one where we need to focus, okay? All right, so more than one keyword is going to be pretty important, all right? So now we know where we're looking. We know we've focused down on this information. Now we need to read carefully. We need to really understand what's being said, okay? So then we read the question carefully and we read the area carefully. So in number one, key information is children and adults are doing different types of work. Okay, all right, very good. We're ahead of us. So why is that? Let's just move on. Why is that false? What's the key information in the passage which tells us that it's false? Okay, yeah. Okay, very good. Yeah, so we look at that. There's no distinction. Okay, similar leisure activities, no distinction, similar work. Okay, so that's definitely contradicts what's said in the passage. Okay, no distinction and different, absolute opposites. Yeah, so you know that it's false. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so we've got Middle Ages and we've got unloved. Okay, so we're doing the same kind of thing. And remember, with the true, false, not given, the order does follow the same, the questions follow the same order as the passage. So you don't need to go back. You can start moving on. So we can start from however and read from there. All right. So can you find some words in the passage which seem to be synonyms for neglected or, sorry, for unloved? Okay, neglected, forsaken, yeah, okay. So let's have a look. Okay, so that's our area, so we know where we are. Okay, so it says this does not mean children were neglected. Okay, very good. Okay, so it's false. Yeah, it specifically says it doesn't mean they were neglected, so it doesn't mean they were unloved. Okay, good stuff, guys, doing really, really well. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next two paragraphs. Okay, we're continuing down. So we've got scientists, we've got overwork, we've got damage. So where are we going to be looking specifically in there? Can you find synonyms or paraphrases for those words? Okay, yeah, okay, very good. So work for a long time. Okay, very good. They're growing bodies. What else? What could be? Yeah, laboring, long hours of laboring. Very good. Yeah. Okay, it's good. Everyone, you're ahead. You got the answer, but I just want to make sure we got that. Okay, very good, Russell. Systematic studies is linking to the scientists. So it's not necessarily a synonym, but we're looking at the same kind of area. Yeah, okay. So all of those are similar. So we know exactly where we're going. We've got all of the keywords in a very close area. Okay, and as everyone's put, the answer is true. Okay, it's exactly the same information. Okay. Very, very good. All right, let us keep going. So remember, we're moving down. We don't need to go back, so we know we're moving on. So we need to find trade unions, and we need to find 19th century, okay, or something that means that. Okay, so I'll just show that. So again, exactly the same words, yeah, because it's you can't really find synonyms for those kind of things. So, and they're close together, so we know that these words are, this is where we're going to have to find the answer. Okay, so, okay, quite tricky, that one. So I'm giving you the answer. It's not given. Why is it not given? How does it, okay, very good. I think Rima's there. In the question, it says majorly contributed, which means that they must have had a very significant contribution to the protection of children, okay? In the case of the passage, we've got also contributed. That could be a very, very small contribution. Yeah, I know, wow. It's tricky, isn't it? But those are the kind of words, those, you know, degrees, the modifiers, really, really are important with the true, false, not given. Yeah, they're not usually considered to be key information, but in this case, because you're reading carefully, they are, okay? Majorly is not the same as also, okay? So it's not given. We cannot say, we don't know if it was a large contribution or a small contribution. We only know that from the passage that they contributed. Because it could be true, Julian, we don't know enough to say that it's false. If it said they also contributed, maybe they did contribute a lot, but we don't know, do we? Yeah. So we can't say it's true or false. We have to say that it's not given. So often if the modifiers are different, and that's the only thing that's different, then it's usually not given. Okay, because the change in the modifier does not necessarily mean that something is false. Okay, it's different information. Okay, all right. Oh, we're not gonna. So these are the kind of key areas to look for. Okay, these are the common mistakes. So negatives. Be very careful about any kind of negative form in the question. As we've said, modifiers are very, very common. Look for those degrees. Is it the same degree? If there's a slight change of degrees, it's probably not given, okay? Or it could be false. And again, this is kind of like degrees to the frequency. It always happens. It never happens. It sometimes happens. It happens in the majority of cases. Those words which are kind of give you a degree of something, that is going to be your key information. That's the way they're trying to trick you, basically. Okay, that's why this is not a very nice exercise, because they really are trying to trick you with those modifiers. Okay, and again, you know, if you can't definitively say it's the same information or it's contradictory information, the answer is not given. Okay. All right. I don't know if we could, do you think we should go to questions, Jamie? Or do you want to carry on?
Maybe, Annalie, we could quickly go through the remaining questions.
Okay.
And
sure.
I think there's like 3 left. So, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So as we said, I'm just going to kind of go through these so it speeds it up a bit. So half-time schools, we find half-time schools exactly the same because it's terminology. but mid 19th century, 1840s. Okay, so it's slightly different. Okay, so we know where we are. Again, you got a modifier here. Most children went to school. Okay, so very good. Yes, Sangeeta and Islam are there. It's false. Okay, so a significant proportion of children never attended school. Okay, so you've got a contrast between the majority and the minority. That is definitely opposites. Okay, that's not different information. Okay, so a significant proportion never attended school. Okay. And we keep moving down. Remember, it's all in the same order. So in the 20th century, so the end of the 19th century is moving on to the 20th century. And we've got a full-time schedule. Okay. So we can find our information quite quickly. In this case, there is no information. Very good, guys. There's no information about the number of children who went. They're just saying it's quite normal, okay? But it does not have a modifier in the passage that can tell you, you know, that it's the same. Very good. Okay. And finally, okay, so we're just going to find the keywords. So we've got needs, so that's the same. We've got groups rather than categorized, and we've got age for old, which all of them, I think we talked about those when you were looking at that. So that's all very close together, so we can squeeze that together. Okay, okay, very good, guys. Very, very good. Okay. So same information, organized into groups according to their age. All right. Okay. So just to summarize very quickly. So first of all, skim, get a general idea of what the passage is about and where everything is. Okay. Then you scan for the key words that are in the passage. They could be the same, they could be synonyms depending on what kind of word it is. And then you read around that area very carefully to check for whether it's true, false, or not given. Be very careful about those modifiers. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Annalie. That was a great presentation. And thank you everyone for taking part and giving your answers. I hope you found it helpful. This was our first webinar on IELTS reading, and I know a lot of you have expressed interest in focusing on matching headings. So that is definitely something we can look at in the future, and we can dive right into it for then. So thank you very much. We still have a bit of time to go through some of your questions. So we'll dive right into them. We have a question here from Jigar, who is asking, could we provide them with some tips for quick reading? What are some ways to speed up the reading process?
Okay, I have a very good tip for scanning. Okay. If you scan in the same order as the passage, your brain will automatically try and read every word, okay? Because that's the way that you normally read. So what you should do is scan upwards, okay? So that you are breaking that connection in your brain with the order of words, and you will find the words much more quickly because they will all become separate entities rather than a passage that flows. Okay, so go for the scanning, go upwards or go, you know, right to left, but don't read in your usual order because your brain will just start reading, and that's really going to slow you down.
Excellent, thank you. That's some really lovely feedback in the comments, Shamuga and Nikunj. Thank you very much. A quick question from Olivia, who is asking, when will part 2 of the webinar on the academic writing part 1 maps? So we did part 1 last week, I think. We will do part 2 in 2 weeks' time. So next week we're focusing on academic writing task 2, an agree disagree essay, and then the following Thursday we'll focus on our part 1 maps. So hope that will be in time for your exam, Olivia. Okay. Let's see, a lot of interest in matching headings. We will definitely cover this in a future webinar. Sammy has a question about the best time management for IELTS reading to achieve a score of 7.
The main thing you can do is practice, okay? Preparation is going to be key, timing yourself for each individual passage rather than just timing yourself for the whole hour, because then you don't know, when you're stopping each. So don't time the whole thing. Time passage 1, time passage 2, time passage 3. Know that passage 1 should be a little bit quicker because it is a little bit easier, to give you a little bit more time for the other ones. But basically timing yourself as you practice is the only way to work on your time management.
Definitely. Olivia has another related question. Does it make sense to read the hardest passage, so passage 3, to read that first and then read the earlier ones later?
I can see what you're thinking. I think the only possible problem with that is that you're going straight into the hardest bit, and that could be a bit discouraging, whereas the first passage is maybe going to give you a bit more confidence because you're going to find it a little bit easier. Again, I think these things are individual choices, and the best thing you can do is try it different ways, do some practice tests, start with the last one, start with the first one, and you've got to do what feels most comfortable for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I have just put the link to our Facebook page in the comments, so you'll be able to see our previous webinars on there as well. There's a question about listening. We are planning to have a listening webinar next month as well, so you can check that out. Let's see, we have... my screen is freezing now, which makes it difficult to see the questions, I think, because there's so many people joined. I can see, can you see any questions in the chat, Annalie?
Yeah, actually it was more of a comment, but it was from Nikhil, but I think it's a very good point, that with the listening and the reading, you really need exposure. And the best thing that you can do, yes, do the exam practice, of course, that's brilliant, but you just, the volume of reading and the volume of listening that you do is really going to help, and you've really got to just build that up over time. You can't just sort of go from I can't read, I can read, the skills are really important, but you've got to do that volume as well. You've got to have that grounding in reading and in listening. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely. Let's see, a question from Sammy, who's asked, if I want to achieve a band 5.5 in the reading, should I just focus on the first 2 passages and avoid the third one?
That sounds quite risky to me. I wouldn't do that. I think you need to cover as many as possible. Okay. And always put an answer for everything, even if you're not sure. Always put something. Don't leave any blank spaces in any of the reading and the listening as well. There's no point. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So a question from Nuk Hoi, who is asking, could we give some advice on developing vocabulary, please?
Mm-hmm. Okay, again, reading and exposure to reading is very good, and one of the things you can do is actually get an article from anywhere, but don't just read it, focus on the vocabulary, really look at the vocabulary, build up vocabulary banks, build up spider diagrams. That's going to help you with the speaking and the writing as well, but you have to have some format, you have to have some system that you use in order to make sure that you remember it. Writing lists is not usually very helpful because there's just too much there, but you know, spider diagrams or some visual way of representing is going to be a lot easier to remember. There's a question from Sangeetha as well, which I think is quite important, about the article. If you miss out an article, if it's a sentence completion or a summary completion, so it's full sentences, you will need to put in the articles the correct form. It has to be grammatically correct. If it's note completion and it's not complete sentences, it's unlikely to matter about the article. You're just going to have to get the key information down there.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Annalie. I'm afraid that's all we have time for this week. We will feel free to send us your questions onto our Facebook page. I've put the link to that in the chat. If you want additional support on reading or other aspects of the IELTS test, you can visit our website, ieltsonlinetest.com. We have a variety of resources on there, as well as the opportunity to do a simulated speaking or writing test with an IELTS examiner. So if you're interested in that, I've put the link in the chat as well. So thank you so much for your contributions this week. It's been lovely to hear your feedback on this. I'm sure we'll have some more reading webinars soon. If you have any suggestions for future topics, please let us know via our Facebook page. So I'd just like to say another very big thank you to Annalie for presenting. And
thanks, everyone.
Great. And hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Best of luck if you have your exam soon. Okay, fingers crossed for you.
Absolutely. Best of luck, guys. See you soon.
Bye-bye, guys. Take care. Take care, guys. Bye.
There we go.